Yes, hello tradies. Welcome to the Air-Rad Siren brought to you by HBF Health Insurance. Make the trade and join HBF, your health dream team. I almost get more feedback on the Air-Rad Siren than I do the main pod.
Yep.
Which I'm not sure, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Clash jumpers.
Clash jumpers went off.
Melbourne Essendon on the weekend was unnecessary as well.
I just can't. I just... Do you know Gold Coast made more money in their sales of the pink jumper in 2 weeks than they made from their entire year of sales of the home jumper last year?
Is that right? That's a great start.
2 weeks.
I did see some neutral fans, well, I presume they were neutral, walking around Adelaide in the pink jumpers.
You assumed they were neutral because they couldn't have been Gold Coast fans.
No, but you know...
That's one of the funniest things you've
No,
ever
but they
said.
were hanging out with other, Carlton mates and all that. I'm like,
Oh, they couldn't be Gold Coast fans.
These are all kids that are just over from Victoria that love the pink jumper. So I applaud them for that.
If the Gold Coast are listening, mine hasn't turned up yet.
You've been the biggest proponent of the.
But the address here in Richmond is quite easily accessible online, and I'm a medium or a large.
Are you going to kick us off?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Look, mine's a slightly more serious Air-Rad Siren. I know I go on stupid rants on this stuff a fair bit, but I just wanted to have I wanted to give my passionate opinion on the Noah Balter situation.
Okay. Yep.
And I'd just like to put out there, I don't know Noah at all, and I'm not casting aspersions as to his character. I'm telling you what I think based on what I've seen. I think that the AFL and its clubs have a terrible reputation for picking and choosing things that suit their narrative at the time. And the AFL, and I'm not going to go into certain examples, you can find them online if you really want to, because I don't think it's fair to the people involved. The AFL has a lot of people that have been involved in incidents which have negatively affected their lives because of violence. And when we want to advertise it and we want to tell people's stories when it suits us, we do. But when situations like Noah Balta come along, we quickly forget about those. And we concentrate more on brand protection than we do about community standards. So Bailey Smith gives the double bird on the weekend. You did a great job with your interview and took the story forward as to why he did it. But he got fined. Why did he get fined?
Because it was against the look of the game.
Yeah, and, the AFL will tell you behind closed doors, well, we want to make sure that when 10-year-old Jimmy asks his dad, what does that mean? That we're setting the right example. Well, you don't do that because that's a rude sign and it's disrespectful and we don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's why he got fined. Okay. Now, I know what people are thinking. Well, Noah Balter got a 6-week suspension. And he did.
That just on that pisses me off when people say 6 weeks. It was 4 weeks.
It was 4. It was
4 matches, and the 2 preseason games are folly. But
I understand that, and I completely agree with you. But I'm just telling you what the facts are so that they can't be disputed when people listen to this. Mm-hmm. He got given 6 weeks. And at that time, the club and the AFL were of the belief that he would have been sentenced. He hasn't been. The judge of the case, which is the judge's right, has postponed it until a slightly later date, that being April 22.
Yep.
Sorry, is it April 22? Or April? Yep. It's not 25?
22.
April 22. For the life of me, Mitch, I can't understand for an industry, that being the AFL, which literally called itself flexible and agile during COVID. They're the 2 words they used, mm-hmm. Literally flexible and agile. Oh, no, we can't be flexible and agile here. No, because we've already made a decision and to give him more weeks would be double jeopardy. Yep. We couldn't do that. Oh, well, imagine if the court case was postponed until September. Are we supposed to not let him play football until September? It's not September. It's 2 more weeks. And you now have a ridiculous situation where a guy who could ostensibly face prison time is running around in a Richmond jumper.
Against playing against under 18 kids.
I mean, look, honestly, how embarrassing for the game. How embarrassing for Richmond. How embarrassing for the AFL. How embarrassing for Noah. You know, it's not fair on anyone. And yeah, Adam Uze has completely got the messaging wrong that, Noah's been dealing with this. And,
that's been poor.
Noah's, gone through this for a number of months. No. Let's be really clear on this. Noah is not the victim. In fact, by definition of pleading guilty, he is the perpetrator.
Yep.
He settled in civil court for a payment for injuries. He's yet to be sentenced by criminal court as to what he's going to face. And all of this, Mitch, could have been cleaned up by one simple decision. Whether it's the AFL or whether it's Richmond, all they had to do was come out and say, hey guys, you know how we gave Noah 6 weeks? The judge has just postponed his sentencing. We think it would be inappropriate for Noah to be playing football until he's sentenced. So for clarity and just for everyone knowing exactly where we're going with this, we're not going to play Noah at any level until he's sentenced in the court of law. Don't you think that that's a little bit unfair? Well, look, it may be from a football perspective, but there are a lot of things in life that are bigger than football. We think that this incident, having seen the vision now is, we will support Noah through every single step of this. He's a long-term player of this football club. He is a leader. We love and respect Noah. We don't love and respect the action, but we will support him no matter what. But just to take heat out of the situation, we think it would be appropriate to wait until the judge delivers a sentencing finding, and then we'll be clear after that as to what we can do. Done. Over. No one talks about it again. Instead, last week, what did all the footy shows and the radio stations talk about?
We led with it on Friday Night News.
No, Noah playing football. What happened when he played? Well, Channel 7, was it Rory Campbell, the reporter, and there was a Channel 9 reporter, both did a great job, followed him from his car to the sheds, looking like he was just walking out of court, not into a football game. Mitch, what's happening this week?
Same again.
Yep. Was driving here on the way, listening to Tom Morris on SEN. Well, I think that it's probably more likely that Noah's going to play this week. So the whole conversation just starts again.
And they just kicked it down the road by not playing him in the AFL last week. They've kicked it down the road for a whole another week.
For an industry that is filled with so many intelligent people at the helm, this has been the definition of dumb when it comes to optics. That's on one hand. And on the other hand, it just completely sends the wrong message. It's hypocritical. You care about the double bird, but you don't care about the bloke who attacked someone from behind when he wasn't looking. Again, I don't know Noah. I'm not casting aspersions on his character. But all we can go on is what we see and what we're told as the facts of the case. And the AFL and the Richmond Football Club have absolutely failed the game and community standards when it comes to this.
Couldn't agree more. And I think the AFL should have owned it from the start. To make it a Richmond decision was poor. I think the AFL needed to own this and take it out of Richmond's hands. And the fact that they then had the decision whether to play him or not last week shouldn't have even got to that.
Yep.
And the fact that if you go right back before it even got to court, he'd been hit with that 4-match AFL ban before they'd even seen the vision. Now they've seen the vision.
And he pleaded guilty.
Yeah, and every footy fan in the country is now seeing that vision. If that was a Victorian court, we wouldn't have seen that vision. That vision would still be withheld by the court, in my view. The New South Wales court don't give a shit who Noah is.
No, they're a bit more open.
So out the vision goes and every footy fan's seen it. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. And another 2 weeks, it wouldn't have meant, like in the scheme of his career, he's just signed a 7-year contract, it wouldn't have meant much. Would have taken the heat out of it. No one would be talking about it. We see him sentenced and we move on. Couldn't agree with more with what you said there.
Really disappointing.
Mine's a bit lighter, and I've just come back from 6 days in Adelaide, so this might be the most obvious take ever. But they should not move Gather Round from Adelaide for the next 20 years.
Oh, boy.
It just can't be anywhere else.
Okay.
So the fact that you can, in the middle of school holidays in Victoria, drive with your family and hit Adelaide in 8 hours just makes it's the most obvious place. The fact that you can get 40,000 people to Essendon and Melbourne on Saturday night, and you can get 45,000 plus to Collingwood, Sydney on the Friday night. 2 neutral teams in both games.
And they got nearly 40,000 to Carlton West Coast early on Saturday.
Might have been a bit less than that. But
okay, right.
From what I saw.
I see.
Maybe people are at the back having.
Oh, I see. Maybe a little GWS crowd trick.
But where else? If you're a big Sydney guy,
Big Sydney guy.
there's not a chance on this planet where you could get Essendon and Melbourne with more than 40,000 in Sydney, or Collingwood Sydney would work, but a neutral game in those markets. And splitting up the Crows and the Power is the most obvious scenario. I know everyone says, not everyone, but people say that the showdown should be played in this weekend. Not a chance. Keep the showdown for another time. You split the Crows and the Power and bookend the weekend. That works perfectly. 27% of tickets from the weekend were sold to people in Victoria. Another 13% outside of Victoria and SA. So 40%.
Feels like Mitch has been briefed here.
No, this is my research over the weekend.
AFL House briefing.
Sharing the information to those in Victoria like yourself that couldn't make it, just to paint the picture of what's going on. Tassie have thrown their hat in the ring. We had a laugh about it last week. I'm still laughing about it because you're gonna knock out too many people. If you had a 23,000 seat stadium in Tassie, you're gonna get 15,000 Tasmanians straight away. That means you're limiting it to 7,000 or 8,000 outside of Tassie. It just means that there's no growth. Queensland, you wouldn't get the neutrals. Sydney, you wouldn't get the neutrals. Perth, too far to put people in the car. The Barossa Valley worked. It was 50 minutes away. The Norwood Food and Wine Festival, they lock off the street. And there was thousands of people down there. To be able to put your family in the car, drive over, make the decision in a couple of days to go or not. It's a 1 hour flight from Melbourne. It's an hour and a half from Sydney. Makes too much sense. And right now, the fact they haven't re-signed it is purely because the AFL want to see how much they can eke out of the South Australian government, see what the financial results were out of that Barossa game and how much money they made for the state. But it'll be over $100 million in economic benefit for SA.
He's been briefed. He's definitely been briefed.
It just makes too much sense. And to use your word, to use your terms, there are too many intelligent people at the AFL. They can't stray away from SA.
So I think I agree with every syllable of what you just said. I would just ask, if I was being devil's advocate, I would ask you the question, what was Gather Round initially designed for?
To grow the game.
Yeah. And not just to grow the game, but to grow the game nationally.
Yep. So that's why.
So that's the argument for moving it around?
And that's why I reckon opening round, because could you imagine if we had Gather Round in Sydney and there was 4,000 people at Suns North?
No, I'm totally with you. So I'm saying I'm with you. I haven't been to a Gather Round yet.
Haven't you?
No. I've always got stuff on.
What did you have on last weekend?
Heaps.
Okay.
Heaps to do last week. Heaps. But from everyone I speak to, like you, and also, and I made this point to someone on the weekend, like being there on the couch and watching it, I still felt part of it. Like Fox and Seven did a really good job of bringing the festival to you.
Okay.
And that's something that I didn't think would be possible, but I actually I felt part of Gather Round being on my couch. And so I'm hoping that other people felt that. My gut feel is that the AFL didn't know that the goal that they'd struck when they initially got into Adelaide. But now that they do, I'm with you. I think they just need to keep it there, to build it. You make a great point about the accessibility that, you can drive there from almost anywhere. It's got that, Adelaide has that local small town feel in a bigger city vibe. And you can walk around and literally run into people.
There was a horse paddock 5-minute drive from where like a massive horse paddock, 5-minute drive from the ground.
So I think that's really cool. The Adelaide Oval is...
You can walk anywhere in the city.
Yeah, I think the Adelaide Oval is quite clearly the second best stadium in the country. For me, it's the MCG head and shoulders, Adelaide Oval head and shoulders, Perth Stadium.
I love Perth Stadium, but you never know where you are. It just feels like you lose your bearings. I quite like Adelaide Oval.
You're in Burswood. You're sort of nowhere. The Adelaide Oval, you're in the heart of the city.
Burswood's not that far, is it, Link? Link's a WA boy producing our show today.
Excuse me, I lived there for 3 weeks. I'm part West Australian.
It's pretty easy on the train. When it first happened, because Subi's far more accessible. So when they first said it was in Burswood, I know a lot of people were like, oh, geez, but it's really easy on the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't walk there across a footbridge like in Adelaide.
You can park in East Perth.
Park in East Perth. Have some pots in the city.
Go to Gloucester Park and watch the trots.
You can park at East Perth and walk.
It's not that far.
How far?
a K, 500 metres?
Oh, is it that close?
Like a K, probably.
I don't think it's that close. As a part West Australian, I think it's further away than that.
I did see Link down in the Collingwood rooms with his brother as well on the week. We might need to get to that at some point.
That is extraordinary. Link has just dropped.
Might cut that out.
Link has just dropped Dad.
Should we digress?
We digress. I forget what we were even saying.
Gather around SA, lock it in. They paid around $30 million this season for it. It's probably worth 40 or 50 now.
I'd just like to make the final point. You cannot have gather round in a state where there is no team. There is yet to be a stadium, and so there is yet to be a team. Is that fair?
Well, they're going to have the team for at least 2 years before the stadium.
No.
The stadium will be getting built, but they'll be playing up the road.
I need to make this clear. There is no agreement to build a stadium yet, which means as it stands, there is no team coming in 28.
Did you say that they've bypassed the project of state significance?
Special legislation. So the Premier has gone to an independent planning commission and said, hey, we're thinking about building this stadium.
How much money has been spent
What do you think? And the planning commission's come back and gone, I actually hate the idea. I think don't build it. And the Premier's gone, well, bad luck, I'm going to build it anyway. It's amazing.
How much money and resources have been spent on that planning commission for the last 6 to 12 months?
That's fine, because it's not as though it's taxpayer money or anything. Wait, hang on. Anyway, why'd you get me onto this? You know where to have to press my buttons. That was the Air-Rad Siren brought to you by the HBF. That was the Air-Rad Siren brought to you by HBF Health Insurance. Make the trade and join HBF, your health dream team. We'll see you next week on the Siren.